Ndugu watazamaji popote pale mlipo, hapa ni London, asubuhi sana, alfajiri bado baridi. Tumekuja ili soko maarufu, soko lile lililoko London. Soko hili linauza bidhaa kutoka dunia nzima. Soko linaloitwa Spitalfields ambalo liko mtaa wa Leytonstone, London Mashariki. Tuko hapa tumekuja kwa ugeni kumkaribisha au kumuona Mheshimiwa Waziri Mkuu Mizengo Pinda. Amefika soko kubwa linaloleta bidhaa mbalimbali kutoka dunia nzima zinazouzwa hapa Uingereza. Tutawaletea ujio au ziara fupi aliyofanya Waziri Mkuu Mizengo Pinda katika soko hili ili kusaidia kuleta bidhaa zetu Tanzania hapa sehemu hii. Tutakuletea kipindi hiki ni ubalozi wa Tanzania kwa ushirikiano na Urban Pulse na Freddy Macha mwandishi wenu. Asante.
Jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana. Wageni wakaribishwa, Afrika yetu hakuna matata.
We've been doing a lot of work with the Tanzania High Commission here in terms of looking at what are the possible ways of working with the smallholder farmers. The High Commissioner had visited himself to see what we are able to offer to help the smallholder farmers to access this market. And when he came, he said, this is really wonderful. I want my Prime Minister to come and have a look and see some of the things he thinks are impossible. I want him to see for himself. And he said, yes, he's here. Let's bring him here. And we just said, yes.
Jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana. Wageni wakaribishwa, Afrika yetu hakuna matata. Afrika nchi nzuri, hakuna matata. Nchi ya maajabu, hakuna matata. Nchi yenye chakula.
Yeah, oh God, this is
Is it in a seedless?
Yeah, this is seedless, yeah. But this is a big business in Sweden.
Between the seedless and the seed and the ones with the seeds.
Kwa kweli Waziri Mkuu leo tumefurahi sana kupata nafasi ya kuja hapa kututembelea. Tumempeleka kule markiti na ameona matunda kadhaa, mboga kadhaa na zingineo.
It's been an exciting day. We are very optimistic, but we're just very excited by the fact that he came to visit and to see what opportunities we're offering and how we can partner, and just to open up his eyes, as he said, that we have opened his eyes for things that he thought were impossible. So we feel quite excited in our hearts that this dream has actually become a reality.
Mr. Prime Minister, I don't want to take too much of your time, but Sakoma are going to explain what they're doing. But just to point out that the Tanzanian mission here in London, we've already begun working with Sakoma. We've introduced them to TanTrade at home, and TanTrade have invited Paris to go to Dar es Salaam, possibly around the Nane, to see the potential that we have, and hopefully we can then draw up a plan to assist our farmers and to assist us to have to be able eventually to export some of the Tanzanian products. So without further ado, maybe you continue with that.
So, ladies and gentlemen, without saying so many, I'm going to invite Perez to give us a special presentation.
Honorable Prime Minister, all distinguished guests, I am indeed very humbled to be able to be speaking before you this morning. And I feel much more comfortable that we actually had to have a visit to the market, because sometimes you get to know people and you get to understand, where you can work in together as a team. And I'm very privileged to have been able to walk with you in this short journey in the market, and be able to say that I would be able to proudly stand before you this morning and say, Karibu. I hope your trip in the market has kind of given you a picture of what we're intending to achieve if not what we are achieving at the moment. I just want to give you a bit history of Sakoma and how we got into the market. Because like everybody else who comes into the UK, as Africans in the diaspora, we face a lot of challenges. But Sakoma as an organization has been running for the last 15 years. We initially started off as a basic advice center where we help people from sub-Saharan Africa to write CVs, to find jobs. And through the 15 years, we have evolved. Our legal structures have changed, our focus have changed, but our primary passion for having set up Sakoma has not changed, which is basically working with people from sub-Saharan Africa, in Europe, all over the world, and in particular, in Africa. Yeah, basically what our focus is on is Africa, access to market for smallholder farmers from Africa. Of course, Africa is very big, and we cannot start with the whole of Africa. We've got to start somewhere. We have started in Kenya because we're originally from Kenya. We know much about Kenya. But what we have done in Kenya is pilot a model that we are now replicating in various African countries, of which we are proud to say that Tanzania is going to be the next.
But I think one of the things you need to remember is, people that live and work in London often want to, eat produce from their home countries. So if there is a population here that wants to tap into the produce from Africa, then they are the people who are going to buy it. The mere fact that there is product already here from Africa means there is a market for it. And sometimes it just means somebody open up the possibility. So I think Sarcoma here today is given the opportunity, and that will be the route through into the market to actually do that tie-up. Sarcoma as a company in the UK know the African community in London. So they are the conduit, as the Prime Minister said, they are the conduit through which actually produce can come through to make sure that the profit and the value does go back to Africa.
I know now if I want to come to London, I want to bring in something into London, at least I've got Sakoma as a starting point. Sakoma is already here, they're already established. They will take me to the market, they will tell me what sort of conditions are required, etc., etc. That's why I told him, shift from there, come this way. Because I was asking her, how did you dream? How did you manage to do this? Because the impression I had all along was, you can't get anything into London, my brother, you're just wasting your time. See? But every time I come here, the ambassador tells me, you can eat cassava here, you can get, what is daga? The small fish. Sardines, yes. Then you get fish, dry fish. Then I kept on asking, from where? So people tell me back home it's not possible, but you guys were telling me you can get them here. I said, there must be somewhere where I can get these things. So finally this time he said, yes, now I think I can take you to some place.
I think ultimately it comes down to relationships. You are able to get product sold in a place such as Spitalfields Market if you've got a relationship with the traders in the market. And that's exactly what Sarcoma have done. They base themselves here, and now Sarcoma are creating the relationships back into other countries because they've got a retail outlet now in the market. So I think ultimately it's about meeting face to face and meeting people and talking to people and working out whether it is that opportunity for trade.
Kwa vile hana tamaa sana kusaidia watu wa Tanzania, pia kuleta vitu zao huku Ulaya. Kwa muda mrefu watu wanasema kupeleka vitu Ulaya ni ngumu, haiwezekani. Lakini kwa nini Kenya wanapeleka, Uganda wanapeleka, Rwanda pia wanapeleka? Kwa nini sio Tanzania? Sasa kuanzia leo vile waziri mkuu ametoka hapa, ana hakika ya kwamba ataweka bidii sana. Sasa vitu zao pia waje hapa Ulaya, hapa kwa markiti.
Nchi ya kupendeza, hakuna matata. Nchi yenye amani, hakuna matata. Twende sote Afrika, hakuna matata. Nchi ya kupendeza, hakuna matata. Nchi yenye mazao, hakuna matata. Twende sote, hakuna matata. Twende sote, hakuna matata.
Thank you so much for at least giving us this very good insight of how one can now access the markets of of Europe through London. Because once we have these facilities, stomach is the biggest market. People are bound to come this way whether they like it or not. And so it's a really, really good thing that I've seen this morning. Now, I know we have some challenges, but these are challenges that I think surmountable if you coordinate your activities well. We have farmers all over Tanzania, and they're all busy doing nothing else except agricultural activities. And in most of these areas, the biggest problem that faces them is who buys these products. Because you see, when everybody's almost a farmer, why should I buy tomatoes from you when I can also produce? So you get some of these local markets, so they're all full of products, and sometimes they stay for too many days and nobody can buy them because tomorrow another ones are coming, the new ones are so this has always been my big issue. How do I get some, how do I offload some of these products to areas where the demand is high?
I'm the founder of Sakoma together with my husband. So my role has remained very much key around CEO, but also now I'm taking on a more role on PR and making sure the vision, the mission of the organization is still core to what we run.
Mimi ni Mkenya, lakini vitu nauza sio kutoka Kenya peke yake. Kuna vitu hapo kutoka Uganda uliona, kuna vitu kutoka Rwanda pia. Sasa tunataka vitu kutoka wapi? Tanzania. Na unaona vitu ambazo zinatoka papa Europe pia, Ulaya. Pia ni vitu mingi sana. Yeah. Tunataka kama tunaweza pata, unajua tukisema kama sweet potato. Hiyo kutoka Tanzania kwanza ni nzuri kwa hata kushinda Kenya. Hiyo ni ukweli. Kwa sababu wacha tunapata nini? Tunapata tunapata feedback kutoka kwa our clients. Wakinunua vitu wanapeleka, enda naye, wakirudi nasema kweli ilikuwa nzuri, ilikuwa tamu sana. Na tunataka vitu hata sio hiyo pekee, si utamu yake, lakini kitu ambacho tunataka kufanya sana ni kuhakikisha kwamba wale wanafanya kwa mashamba kule Tanzania pia wafaidike kidogo.
I belong to that club of farmers. I like farming too. The way I farm is not the way my other friends do. Not at all. I do it in a much better way. And if I've got to sell something, maybe people say, yes, I think the Prime Minister's product is good. But that's not important. I think what is important is how do I get these others now, the poor peasants scattered all over, to have that access. Okay.
Our customers are mainly supermarkets because it's wholesale. A lot of supermarkets buy from us, catering companies also buy from us. We supply schools and hospitals, as well as a lot of, say for example, party companies that repack this produce for their own consumption. A lot of supermarkets also buy to repack them in their own brand. But it is possible, whereas they thought it was impossible to get Tanzania produce into the UK, especially in a large-scale commercial operation like this. That it is possible for the Tanzania produce to also have a space in the stand. Most importantly, because there is a market for every product. As he went around, he said there was things from Costa Rica, there was produce from Ireland, there was produce from South Africa. Literally, the whole world is in this place, and there's a space for Tanzania produce.
And I think this is where the Prime Minister's role now comes in, trying to see, now that you have seen this opportunity, what are you going to do back home? How do you organize these people? How do you meet the EU requirements, etc., etc.? But above it all, if you have Perez around, I don't see why I should.
Nchi yenye amani, hakuna matata. Nchi yenye furaha, hakuna matata. Nchi yenye upendo, hakuna matata. Twende sote Afrika, hakuna matata. Twende Kenya, hakuna matata. Bongo, hakuna matata. Nchi yenye kupenda, hakuna matata. Twende Tanzania.
Kwanza faida yetu ni mingi. Moja yao ni kuhusu wakulima. Faida yetu moja nzuri sana, wakulima watakuwa na furaha sana kwa sababu wakipeleka vitu zao hapa Ulaya au wakileta vitu zao hapa Ulaya watapata faida kwa vile wataenable kupeleka watoto wao shule, wataishi maisha mzuri kwa sababu wakiuza hiyo bidhaa zao vizuri, at least kuna pesa ambayo itakuja mkononi. Kwa hivyo watoto wataenda shule, wataendelea kuishi maisha mzuri kama binadamu. Vile nilikwambia, kwanza hii ni ya vijana sana. Vijana wakamaliza masomo form 4 ama form 6 ama waende hapa mpaka university, wengi wao hawana kazi. Sasa wanaanza kutangatanga kule Dar es Salaam. Badala ya kutangatanga kwa mjini huko, kuja nyumbani huko na hiyo 1 acre. Hiyo 1 acre kufanya vizuri sana. Utalima na utapata pesa na utakuwa mtu ambaye utakuwa tajiri.
This initial concept, as I described it, where we just saw a group of farmers standing by the roadside in Kenya and we said we want to create a market for them, has actually become a reality and of not just international interest, but interest to the people that we think can be stakeholders to make us work with smallholder farmers in that region. And to me, that came out very clearly. And the fact that they've been waiting for an opportunity like this, it never came, and now for it to come, especially from a group of African people in Europe, you know, that to him was even more, you know, surprising, but also he was very thrilled by the fact that African people are taking initiatives themselves to be a solution to Africa.
Kuna matata.
Basi ndugu watazamaji au mtazamaji pale ulipo, nafikiri mmefurahia kipindi au mmepata habari mpya. Ni kwamba soko liko wazi kwa mkulima, na kama ni rafiki wa mkulima au mfanyabiashara, tulete nyanya, leteni tenda, maembe, machungwa, viazi vikuu, viazi vitamu, mchicha, vyote viko hapo.
Kenya juu, lakini Tanzania juu kabisa.
Ninashukuru Mungu kwa nipa nafasi ya kutumikia. God bless Africa. God bless Sakoma.
Asante, tukutane tena wakati ujao.